All right, let's talk about PlayStation VR2. Sony recently announced the price and release date for the PlayStation VR2. You can see the price right there on the screen. They also announced 11 new games that are coming to the platform. Not all of them will be launch titles, but they're trying to build up that catalog for reasons we'll get to in just a second. So this begs the question, now that we have a firm price and a release date, and they're taking pre-orders starting on November 15th, this raises the question, is it worth it? Let's talk about it. $550. $550. It should be noted that the original PlayStation VR1 sold for $500, excuse me, $525, I think, 6 years ago. So if you account for inflation, that's higher than this one is. This one would have cost $600 if you account for inflation. It's currently available for pre-order starting on November 15th, and it will ship on February 20th, 2023. I am firmly on the wait and see path right now for several reasons. Number one, I don't own the PlayStation 5 yet. So for me to buy into a PSVR2, it's not just $550 plus tax for me. It's $550 plus the cost of a PlayStation 5. So let's just say $500. Let's split the difference. Let's say $500. That is $1,050 for me to get a PlayStation VR2. That's before I have bought a single game. PlayStation VR2 is not backwards compatible with PlayStation VR1. Those games will not play on PlayStation VR2. This console is going to launch with no back compatible games, which in 2022 feels kind of insane. This is almost like a brand new console. They said they're going to be, Sony said they're going to launch with about 20 games. And of those 20, when I counted, 3 of them are games that are exclusive to, are going to be exclusive to PSVR2. There are 6 exclusive games overall, but 3 of them won't be available at launch. They're going to launch later in the year. We're going to watch all those trailers here in a minute. There's just a massive, massive gulf between the technology that PSVR1 was on with the motion camera and the move controllers and all that to what this does. So if they were going to have to spend time and energy and resources to port a bunch of games from PSVR1 to PSVR2, but they weren't going to resell them, that's a lot to ask of a developer to do, because the development kits are so different now because there's 6 years between headsets. So that's why they did it. And I understand that, but from a consumer standpoint, it still sucks. And the last round I have with it is, let's get to the games. They're saying they're going to launch with 20 games. With the 11 that were announced today, they're up to 31 games in the catalog overall. That's a tough sell for me. That's a tough sell for me. And even as a content creator, you're asking me to invest $1,000 to play, when I looked at this list, 2 games I really wanted to play. 2 out of 31, and 1 of them is not a launch title. All right, so games. If you're a fan of the Dark Pictures anthology, this might interest you. The game is called Dark Pictures Switchback. Anyway, a fast-paced roller coaster action horror shooter where every move you make and everything you see can mean the difference between life and death. When I was reading more about this game, like the other Dark Pictures games, will give you like different story branches and different endings. So from that standpoint, it's a pretty cool narrative game for VR that you really haven't seen before. There aren't a lot of VR games that have multiple endings. Till Dawn, Rush of Blood. Super massive games. Gotta turn it down just a little bit. In an original story. There's that guy who's in every Dark Pictures game. Hear every scream. Make your choice. Dark Pictures Switchback VR coming soon. I found something really unique about this game. They said with the PlayStation VR2 headset eye tracking, we made enemies that only move when you blink and hear demon whispers in your ear with PlayStation 3D audio. The fact that there is a demon that will only move when I blink, if you are a Doctor Who fan, you're thinking Weeping Angel right now. That is terrifying. But it is on rails, and that's, your mileage may vary on those. If you're a big arcade person, I grew up loving playing shooters in arcades. So it depends on, 1, if you're a Dark Pictures fan, and 2, if you are an on rails person, if you like arcade shooters, this could be up your alley. This one is called Crossfire Sierra Squad. Milegate, that's a creepy name for a company. More guitar though. Oh, my man caught a grenade and threw it back. Take this shit back. But to me, already this trailer feels long, though. I mean, is it just me? Is the trailer feel a little bit long? It's a shooter. It's a military shooter. Like, we've seen COD for years. We kind of know what we're getting here. Give me something unique. Okay, you can pull stuff down to block a path. That's interesting. Dead by Daylight kind of, you know, took that from you. Crossfire Sierra Squad. They talked about like the bots are super high artificial intelligence. Plays the leader of a squad, 60 campaign missions, yada 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 yada, 39 types of weapons, this, that, and the other thing, yakety schmackety. There is nothing about this that looked special. Light Brigade. From the minds of Funtronic Labs comes a new single-player roguelike experience filled with immersive gameplay and moody mystery. Anyone who knows me knows what word turned me off in that description, but we're gonna hit it.
Half a league.
You say half a lube?
Half a league.
We got lube in this game?
Onward.
Another shooter.
Into the valley of
This one, apparently, you could pray to have doors open though.
Road the 600.
The Light Brigade. Pre-order now. They didn't do a good job of showing this in the trailer, but there's magic involved in that game too. It's not just guns. But I know you watch that and think it's just another shooter. This game, I should note, is coming out on PlayStation VR 1 as well. They are going to port this to 1, and I think Brigade was too. It was, yeah. The Light Brigade, that game we just saw, will also be on PlayStation VR 1. Which explains why graphically that game did not look next generation. I've come to expect when I see Sony games, when I see PlayStation games, I think high-end graphics because that's what Sony seems to put the premium on. High-end visuals. Doesn't matter if the game plays like shit because some of them do. A lot of them don't, but some of them do. As long as graphically it is stunning, it's one of the most beautiful things you've ever looked at, they're usually pretty happy. Light Brigade looked like an early alpha of a game that's going to be awesome in like a year, but that's a finished product. Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue. Okay, essentially, you have a friend who was locked in the basement, and you and 6 other people, so this game is a co-op game, have to sneak into the house of the creepy neighbor named Mr. Peterson. Look at this creepy son of a bitch. Look at him. Look at that chin. Look at that chin. And rescue your friend. I love this is essentially a horror game. Contractors? It's not Contractor. He's seen Contractors. I've streamed that before. I doubt it's that. Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue. They're porting Jurassic World. I've already played that. Pistol Whip. I've played it before. I didn't really like it. Zenith. That is a big MMORPG. After the Fall. Already on PSVR and Quest. Tentacular. Already on PSVR and Quest. That's 4 of the 6 exclusives. We're going to watch the other 2 right now. Then we're going to run a poll while I get ready for Iron Man VR. And I want everyone to tell me, would this exclusive lineup entice you to buy this console, knowing that you could buy any other VR headset and play any other game, and play any other games they're going to have at launch? Because that's the dilemma I'm in right now. This next one's called Firewall Ultra. We've watched this trailer before. Firewall is a follow-up to Firewall 0 Hour, which was, from what I understand, the best shooter on PlayStation VR 1.
Raven here. You want to be a contractor?
No, not really.
According to your reputation,
I can't read.
You have the right skills for the job. The risk is high, but so is the reward.
So it's a shooter, but it's looking like a horror game.
If you're compromised, you're on your own. Are you ready?
On the pause here. So this game, they're taking advantage. This probably be one of the few games at launch that's supposed to take advantage of all of the upgrades, the technological upgrades that PSVR2 has to offer. 4K HDR, because the resolution of PSVR2 is supposed to be better. Haptic feedback, eye tracking. When you go to your weapon selection, if you move your eye like this, you can select the gun just by moving your eye. I thought that was really cool. It's a neat little gimmick. Not a game seller for me. And I said a few minutes ago, show me something different. We were looking at Sierra Squad, Crossfire Sierra Squad. This game at least has different controls to make it a little bit more immersive, but it's still a shooter. Horizon Call of the Mountain. I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn for quite some time now. I love that game. I can't wait to play Forbidden West. This is the VR version of it. It will be a 6-hour independent story campaign. You do not play as Aloy. It's not a remake of the original games. It's a completely different character, although you meet some of the characters who were in the first 2 games.
Where are you taking me?
Look at that. If you're a Horizon fan, just imagine this in VR.
Everyone says Reyes is a good shot.
Yeah, and he'll put arrows through both of us.
I'm imagining fighting a Snapmaw in VR and just shitting the brick.
Blameless Murad had me released from prison. But why?
Climb the mountain. Find out why the machines are attacking.
Oh, look at it. If I have to climb one of those damn things to map the area like you do in the original game, I'm gonna be really mad. I don't want to climb that in VR.
You have walked in the shadows, Reyes.
Oh,
Now it is time to climb
put it in my
into
veins.
the light.
Ooh, shit. Nope. Would you buy a PlayStation VR2 over other VR headsets, not in general, over other VR headsets based on the exclusives that you just saw? I know some of that will vary depending on whether or not you already have a PS5. Like I said, for me, that's over $1,000 buy-in. The other problem I'm having with the lineup right now, and the thing I'm really struggling with, there are so many shooters. There's so many shooters. Like in this list, we have Firewall Ultra, Crossfire Sierra Squad. You could probably count Switchback VR, the Dark Pictures game, as a shooter. It's just an on-rails shooter. Light Brigade looks like a shooter. All they showcase were guns in that, even though there's other stuff. They're also porting Pistol Whip. They're porting Super Hot. They're porting After the Fall. Probably close to half of their lineup are shooters. Alvo is another one. So out of 31 games that we know about, I think I just named, what, 8 or 9? Are all shooters. But I don't... the number of shooters, and I'm not a shooter main. Let's be clear on that. I've played almost every Quest 2 shooter there is. Just because I feel like as a VR enthusiast, it's my job to touch them all. That came out wrong. High-end graphics, next generation graphics, yada, yada, yada. Eye tracking, foveated rendering, all that stuff that sounds really, really exciting for like VR enthusiasts and developers. But for me, it's just a layman gamer, even though I work for a developer now. The tech doesn't excite me as much if the games are not there to support it and take advantage of it. And the lineup I'm seeing now just doesn't have it. It really doesn't.